Mickey. Hi, visiting friends. I want to talk to you about two things today. The first thing is something new for you. We have two words, do and make. These words you use before an action of some kind that you do. Usually, if it's something not easy, not fun, it's work, then you say do before that word. I must do my homework. I must do some cleaning. I must do some exercise. I must do the laundry. I must do some gardening. I must do some things that are work. With make, it's usually something you're thinking about that's more interesting and more fun. I must make dinner. I must make a picture. I must make a movie. I can make a story. Something fun usually has make at the beginning. Okay? The second thing is I have a different story today about little Miss Trouble. She is trouble. Some of you remember this. I know Igor and Amelka have seen it. So, this story is about little Miss Trouble. She lives in a town called Up to No Good. She lives in fields and trees, but she has no neighbors. Nobody lives there near her. This is her. This is Miss Trouble. She is the reason that nobody wants to live there. She is a lot of trouble. What does she do? Well, sometimes she calls this neighbor at 5 o'clock in the morning. She wakes him up every morning at 5. Does he look happy about this? I think he's not. And she is somebody who told Mr. Wrong that the best thing to do was to polish his car with boot polish. Is this okay for his car? I don't think so, no. But she lives by herself. She doesn't have any friends because she's up to no good. She's trouble, trouble, trouble. So she wished she had a neighbor. One Monday, she went to a wishing well and she threw a coin into the well and said, I wish I lived next door to somebody. I wish somebody lived next to me. Then she looked out her window and she saw somebody new was coming to the next house. This is somebody named Mr. Chatterbox, somebody who likes to talk. So she did this. She took the scissors and she cut the telephone wire. Is that nice to do? I don't think so. So she cut the wire, and Mr. Chatterbox had nobody to talk to. Nobody. Nobody. So he looked out of the window and saw Miss Trouble's house, and he knocked on the door. And he wanted to talk to her, so he talked and talked and talked and talked and talked to her. She didn't like that. So she wanted a different neighbor. On Tuesday, she went back to the same wishing well and asked for a better neighbor. Well, the next morning, a new man named Mr. Bump moved here, and she decided to smash his windows. She's such little Miss Trouble is so bad. She shouldn't do that. So he was having many accidents and he decided he should move. So little Miss Trouble didn't have a neighbor again. On Wednesday, Miss Trouble tried to play a trick on little Miss Lucky. But little Miss Lucky was so lucky this trick didn't work. The water didn't come down. So she's very lucky it didn't work. On Thursday, nobody was at little Miss Late's house. She was still on her holiday, so little Miss Trouble was still very angry. She didn't have a neighbor. On Friday, little Miss Trouble told Mr. Muddle that Mr. Small had called him an egghead. But Mr. Muddle got muddled up and instead was angry and thanked him. Instead of being angry, he thanked the guy. Do you think he has an egghead? I think he does. On Saturday, little Miss Trouble let the tires out of Mr. Forgetful's car. But Mr. Forgetful forgot that he had a car and he took the bus instead. He's so silly. On Sunday, little Miss Trouble was fed up and she went back to the wishing well and she said, "The trouble with neighbors is that they are too much trouble." And so she was very happy that she didn't make any trouble for anybody else because she had no new neighbors. Except on Tuesday. So maybe next week you can hear a little bit about little Miss Trouble. Nice to see you. Bye.